First thing on. There we go. Maybe good.
Hi.
Hey everybody, my name is Carter.
My name's Olivia. I'm 15 years old.
And I am currently 16, about to be 17. And we are the founders of One More Generation, a nonprofit organization where we go around and teach kids, just like you guys, about endangered species and plastic pollution. So we're here today to talk to you a little bit about what we do, and then you guys can type in questions and we'll be answering them along the way. All right, so... Oops.
Thank you.
All right, so this is us when we're all fancied up. So that we were about to go to a gala there. But so basically, our company started with cheetahs. So our aunt went to South Africa and went there and didn't really know what to bring back for us. Originally, she was going to bring back shirts and all, but she brought us back a certificate saying that we were proud owners of cheetahs. Now, this doesn't mean that they came back to our house. It just means that we were paying to help care for them. And this is one of our cheetahs. That's Talala, which is Olivia's, which means princess, and mine is Deputsu, which means Dave in Afrikaans. So if you have a friend named Dave, you can just call him Deputsu. So that's how we got started. When Olivia first realized that these animals weren't going to be around forever, if we didn't do something to help protect them, then there might not be animals when we have kids. And that got us really upset. So we went to our dad and said, what are we going to do about this? And he said, well, when you get older, you can start a company. And she took that as Dad said we're starting a company. So we took it from there, and we started One More Generation.
So we then collected money and delivered about $1,000 to the NBTI Cheetah Center where we had been rescuing our cheetahs. And as you can see, it's a big check, literally. And they use that to help raise awareness and keep cheetahs, king cheetahs, and many other animals safe that in their reserve.
And just to let you know, this cheetah is not being harmed in any way. This is their ambassador cheetah. It was taken from the wild at a young age from poachers, and it was never able to go back. So this is the one cheetah that they allow people to pet just to get to know more about it. This is also one of the cheetahs that we got to pet. We got to get our hands dirty and got to mix some meats with all the cheetahs. I personally didn't like it.
But if you notice, you probably can't see, but in my fingers, there's a little bit of blood. And the reason why is because in the beginning, they said, hey, do you guys want to feed the animals? We said, oh, sure, of course. And we had to mix raw meat with our hands. And they said, make sure to wash your hands. We're going in with carnivores. As a 7-year-old, me washing my hands was just this. And so we went in there. Luckily, they weren't hungry enough to eat me, but I learned to wash my hands regular and safely from now on.
So unfortunately, this picture wasn't able to show up. We'll show you the original picture in a little bit, but we apologize about that.
Yeah.
But we actually went to South Africa to learn about a project that we were doing, and this picture was related to that. We'll get a little bit more into detail about that.
Recently, after we started the company, the Gulf oil spill happened. I'm not quite sure if you guys, how old you guys are, so I'm not sure if you remember Gulf oil spill, but basically we learned about it and we said, what are we going to do about this problem? So for 4 months straight, we collected supplies and hand-delivered them to the Marine Mammal and Sea Turtle Rescue Center. They had over 146 sea turtles, 6 sharks, and 1 dolphin that were all sick from ingesting oil.
And as you can see here, there's a red tube going down the back of the turtle and into the neck. This turtle is very pale. It had to be fed through a tube because he was just so sickly that he could not do it himself. And here's another picture right here. And I do have a question about this. And you can type on here if you'd like. I'll give you like a minute or two to answer. How do you get oil out of a sea turtle if the sea turtle swallows it? Because you can't just, of course, squeeze the sea turtle because they're attached to their shells. Does anyone know how to get it out? I'll give you about 2 minutes, and we'll see what kind of answers we get. So they had roughly, I want to say, close to 200 birds that were just living in the place because they were flying down to get fish, and they got stuck in all the oil and everything, which was very sad to see. So we got an answer.
Inactivate charcoal, just like in humans who ingest poison.
That's a good guess.
That's a really good guess.
But that is not the best way to do it. There are other ways to do it, which will just kind of disturb you. We'll get like 2 more answers here, and we'll see if any of you get it right. But anyway, so the people that we were here with, they're from the Marine Mammal Sea Turtle Rescue Center. They've been doing this for quite some time, saving different species that have been harmed by what humans have done to the environment. And while we were there, we got to learn so much about the different species. We delivered all the different things. I'll show you the next picture here. You can definitely see all the supplies we collected. The crates on the bottom for the animals. We had a German film crew that came with us, if any of you speak German. And that was our OMG van, as we called it, at the time before we had to get a new car. And I don't seem to see any more answers coming in, so we will tell you. You actually take mayonnaise and you squirt it down their throat. Now, it's a very disgusting process because mayonnaise is thicker than oil. And when it goes down your throat, first of all, they don't really like mayonnaise being stuck down their throat. Neither would I. And it's just all comes up because they can't handle it. So, like, almost every drop of oil comes out. And I don't know who came up with this, what scientist said, let's put mayonnaise down a sea turtle's throat. But it was definitely something to see. I could not watch it.
Well, if you haven't ever seen this picture before, you wouldn't know that this is a baby albatross, and over 100,000, albatrosses are killed every year due to plastic. And we learned about plastic because when we were in the Gulf, a professor from Berkeley, California came up to us and congratulated us on all the hard work that we've been doing, but then asked us, what are we doing about the environment? And my dad said, what do you mean? Isn't all the oil gone someday? And she's saying, oil's not my problem. Plastic pollution is. And that's the first time that we had ever heard about plastic pollution.
So animals, like, far and wide are getting, issues from plastic pollution. If you can see in here, there is a cigarette lighter and plastic bags and, caps, bottle caps, that were all inside one baby. And the reason this happens is because the mom goes back and ingests all the things she found in the ocean back into the baby. And sometimes it is plastic because plastic does shine when there's light on it, and so do fish. So they sometimes mistake it for that. As you can see here, not only do birds get affected by this, but so do sea creatures like sea turtles. This one, luckily, was someone able to
slowly
pull it out. But the sad thing is that these animals don't have fingers or hands to be able to pull it out themselves. So the only choice is for them to keep on chewing until it's down in their system, and they can't digest that. So it blocks their digestive system, so they starve to death when they think they are hungry. And so therefore we created a 1-week-long curriculum, our Plastic and Recycling Awareness Week curriculum, where we go around to schools and teach kids and adults about the need to recycle and to pre-cycle. Would you want to tell them what pre-cycling is?
Pre-cycling is where if you know what's not good for the environment, then you don't go out and you don't buy the products that are bad for the environment or can't be recycled. And our program teaches kids pre-cycling. It also has art, literacy, and math in the program, which is especially good for schools. Our art projects usually involve the kids collecting all the trash they have at home and plastic, and we create an art sculpture out of it to show them how much each class or each school or each community creates in 1 week.
And as you can see, we have 3 different books that we include, kids' books. Sully Saves the Seas. We also have Mother Earth Called, You Better Call Her Back, and The Big Ocean. And so these are a bunch of different books and things that we give you guys so that you guys can learn more about what you guys can do. So this was the original picture that we were talking about earlier, and this we were just going to show a close-up of the eye. This is a rhino, and it's a black rhino. And as you can see here, the reason why we took this picture is because there are white lines going across his face. I don't know if you guys can see my mouse or not. I doubt it, but as you can see, those are scars from a panga. A panga is basically a machete, and it was slashed 27 times, trying to protect its mother from the poacher. Luckily, it went into this orphanage. The mother, however, did not survive, which was sad, but it just shows you that these animals have been scarred from just seeing their mother dying, let alone being hacked up by a poacher.
But each one of these baby rhinos all have a backstory on why they're there as well.
And so we created a campaign to raise awareness about these species, and our original goal was to collect 1,000 letters to bring to the South African government. And we wanted to get them from all around the world to show that not only people in Africa, but people in the United States, people in Asia, people in South America, all these people cared about species that not necessarily lived in their own country. As you can see here, this is one of us, for petting the rhino. It was an amazing experience because we've never been that close to a rhino that's being taken care of that way, because in zoos they're not really the same way as an orphanage.
We went around to different schools and taught about our rhino campaign. A lot of the kids wrote letters to the president of their own country saying, hey, can you help us stop this? This is bad. This is just one of the many schools that we went to
in South Africa.
And we also got a ton from United States and actually all over the world. But while we were in Africa, we definitely taught a bunch of schools.
We ended up collecting over 10,000 letters from around the world in about a year and a half, and we delivered them to the South African Minister of Environmental Affairs. It was an amazing turnout. He did not like it because we had 10,000 of these letters, and we asked him to read all of them. He obviously didn't. But as you can see, we have a great group of young kids here. There's someone behind the podium that you can't see. But then we had Miss Earth there as well from South Africa. So it was a great turnout. Everyone loved the fact that we were able to do this.
We then wanted to continue our works with our rhino efforts, and a year later we traveled to Vietnam, where the drive for rhino horn is being demanded, and we went around teaching people on why they shouldn't buy it and why it's bad for you, and it's proven that there's no medicinal value to it, and basically trying to raise awareness so that way when they get older they'll teach their kids and so on. We went with a group of 6 other of our friends from South Africa, and we went around to schools, clubs, basically anywhere, and just taught.
Alright, so you guys can type on here if you want, but this is a new species that we had learned about a year and a half ago, and we want to know if you guys knew what type of species this was. There are over 8 different species around the world, 4 in Africa, 4 in Asia, and they are the most poached and trafficked mammal on the planet. So I'll give you guys about 30 seconds to type in here what you guys think this is. This is one of the species that lives in, where is it? Africa. We'll see if we can get any responses here. Hey, okay, so we got a good answer. A pangolin. Yes, you are correct. And these live in the different places we were talking about. The one you just looked at was a black-bellied pangolin, and there are very few in the wild, and they're being held in captivity for reasons because they're being confiscated from poachers, or they just were their babies were. Can't talk today. I apologize.
So one of the reasons why is, of course, their scales. It's made of the same thing as your hair and fingernails, and same as rhino horn, and it's be taken for medicinal value. And also in Africa, they usually use the pangolins for their meat. And if you go to probably some of these places, you could probably go to a shop and get pangolin soup that has broth with a whole baby pangolin in it without any scales. It's sad and disgusting. But our goal is to help save these pangolins from ending up in soups and shops and places like that.
So we were originally going to try to show you guys a video. Sadly, the video format did not come up. But as you can see here, this is a pangolin mother with her baby on the tail. The babies are rather cute, in my opinion, but they have long tails and long tongues for sticking out to grab ants and termites. And they don't have teeth, so when they stick their tongues into the dirt to get the termites, or the wood to get the termites, they usually get back some sort of dirt back, and they'll move it inside their mouth, and it'll crush up the ants for them.
And another cool fact about penguins is that their tongues are actually longer than their bodies. And it's like, how can they fit that? They actually have a little pouch that they can fit. They curl their tongue up in, and they can fit it in their mouth, and then it just comes out and grabs the ants. Did you know that every 5 minutes another penguin is snatched from the wild? So just think about that.
So
5 minutes ago, one penguin was snatched from the wild.
So from the time you've been watching this, about almost 4 pangolins have been taken from their natural habitat.
And why is it important? Because these animals, one reason is because if they're not here to eat all the termites and bugs and stuff, they'll be everywhere. But another is because they're so precious animals that we can't lose.
So they eat about 70 million ants in one day. No, sorry, I apologize. 1 year. That would be impossible. 1 year, which is quite a bit. So they're definitely taking care of the ant problem if you haven't.
So we created a project that helps get kids and adults to become pangolin protectors. So we have a friend from the UK named Louise Fletcher. She's in the corner over there. And she painted this beautiful mural of a penguin with a baby on its back. But if you notice, the penguin doesn't have any scales on it. And there's a reason to that. We print up, and each school can do this, you guys can do it, we print up scales with artwork from people around the world, artists from around the world, of penguins. And you can write messages on them, you can color them in, and then we put them on the penguin, so we're putting back its scales back on them. So then you become a penguin protector.
Then these murals go into places like airports where we live, as well as where you guys will live. They also get into National Geographic, Smithsonian, and a bunch of different big organizations that are supporting us. Delta is also supporting us in this, so thank you to them as well.
Now, does anybody know what this is? It might be a little bit confusing or obvious. I'll give you a second to read it.
Gotten quite a few mixed answers before.
Straws.
Yes, so they are straws. Yes. A lot of people think that sometimes they could be tubes or pipes. These are actually plastic straws, and this is our big campaign that we're doing along with the pangolins.
Did you know that in America alone, we use over 500 million straws a day? That can fill up to 146,000 school buses a year, or more than 46,000 school buses a year. 127
a day.
Sorry.
But so that's 1.6 straw for every man, woman, and child living in the country. If you think about it, you may not use a straw every single day, but think about the juice packs that we give to little kids. Also, the servers at restaurants, when they put straws down on your table, they have to legally, even if you don't use it, they have to throw it away, which is sad, but it's a health thing that most restaurants have taken up. So we created our One Less Straw pledge campaign. The website's right there if you guys ever want to visit it, onelessstraw.org. And you can go on there, get your school to sign up, and get them to not use a plastic straw for an entire month. Now, the main reason is because we're using so many straws, and if you think about it, you don't really need it. 90% of us can go without it. The 10% that do need it for medical issues or have sensitive teeth, that's different. But there are also other alternatives like glass straws, paper straws, metal straws, bamboo straws, even straws that you can use in place of the plastic. So this is a map of all the different zip codes that we've gotten. There could be hundreds of people in these zip codes. There could be one person.
The red dots are the zip codes. The blue is businesses. The fork and knives are, of course, restaurants, and there are school buses or schools. And if
And
you
the green right here, as you can see, are hotels.
yes, we actually have a school in the middle of. It's on the far left. Sorry, in the middle of the ocean. It's actually a school in Guam that signed up with us as well. So if you just go to our website, you can get your school partnership or even your favorite restaurant to sign up as well. These are, if you get your favorite restaurant to sign up, these are the buttons that you each server would get, basically saying we only serve straws upon request, ask me why. Because 90% of us can live without straws. Of course, there are people with medical problems, sensitive teeth, that don't want stains on their teeth, but there are alternatives to that. There's paper straws, glass straws, any kind of renewable source. But if you eliminate the straws, most people won't think twice about it.
And here we've gotten over 11 different languages with these straws. We have German, Italian, Danish, we've got Vietnamese, we've got a bunch of different languages so that anywhere you go around the world you can, learn about it. If any of you have a different language that you guys would be willing to translate for us, that would be great. We're trying to spread it as far as we can. Olivia already talked about how you can give these to restaurants. We only serve these upon request. Ask me why, so that they're not just constantly handing these straws down onto the table. Oh, that was my phone. All right, so the way you can help is you can go to our website, onemoregeneration.org or onelessstraw.org.
And real quick, these are the buttons. You can see them, but it says we only serve straws upon request. It's pretty big, right there, and it's nice.
It's legible.
Yeah.
If you go to these websites, you can definitely contact us. We still have time on here. You guys could be typing, asking us questions, whatever you guys want to know. But if you guys just sign up on onelessstraw.org, that would be such a great help to us. And get your whole school involved or a restaurant that's nearby. And so our main message is anybody can make a difference. If we can, you can too. And that is so true, because without the youth getting involved, right now we would not really be able to do much for the future. So definitely get involved.
Now, does anybody have any questions for us? It could be anything, anything at all.
Doesn't really matter, business related. It could be school. It could be sport. Yeah, pets. We're here for, what time is it? We're good another couple minutes. So if you guys have any questions. We got 3 people typing, so that's good. And thank you for all the people who've already been typing already.
Do you get nervous making these? We did at first. I'm sure I sometimes still get nervous when we do big events. We've been doing this for about 8 years now, so we've kind of gotten used to it. But we do get nervous sometimes.
I want to say that we got out of our nerve when we first started talking to bigger groups of people. Our biggest group was 2,700 pastors in one room. That really shook us up. But I think we've grown out of that since. So now that we're able to just talk on a regular basis, and it also helps when you're able to connect with the people more on a personal level. All right, do we have any other questions? I see a few people typing.
What other places have you been around?
Okay, so I'll answer part of it. Vietnam, we've been to Costa Rica, Colombia, Germany, France. Where else have we been? South Africa. Yes, to Colombia. We're going to Mexico soon.
Malta.
Olivia's been to Malta. I have not, sadly. We're going to Sweden.
Dominican Republic, Turks and Caicos.
I think that's.
Yeah, I did a 9-day research voyage through the Caribbean, so that's Turks and Caicos and stuff like that.
But yeah, I think that gets to where we are traveled.
How do you get your ideas for your projects?
We're gonna go back to that first question, and then we'll get to Kyle's question.
Okay, so our ideas for the projects, sometimes they're just out of the blue. Like we said, when we went to Vietnam, or first when we went to Africa, we learned about rhinos, and the rhinos brought us to Vietnam, where penguins are also in Vietnam. So that's what we're working on now. And but oil spill, of course, happens. So events that go on around the world, we try to keep up with events and come up with ways that we can help the environment and our animals and stuff like that.
What are your plans in Mexico? Our plans in Mexico are to talk to the Mexican government and try to get them to sign up with our One Less Straw pledge campaign so that Mexico schools and districts go straw free. That's at the World Ocean Summit. This will definitely be huge for us. We hope to get this going, and I feel like we will be able to because they have been on board with us with other campaigns already. So we're definitely awaiting that.
Okay.
And then Kyle.
You guys seem really knowledgeable about environmental science issues and very up to date with the issues facing the world. Where do you guys usually get your information? Any articles or news sources you would recommend as students? One is Google. It's a really good source. Definitely National Geographic is a really good source for things. And
trying to think. So we have a lot of professors that we
Yes.
work with. Somebody by the name of Dr. Pachari, who's a Nobel Peace Prize winner, he works with us all the time about coming up with new ideas and everything. And he's got, like, he is so intelligent. And without him, we couldn't do a lot of the stuff we're doing now. But I feel like
if you connect with more people.
yeah, if you connect with more people and other students, you'll be able to be more knowledgeable. But articles and news sources. There was one news source I just read about. I'm trying to remember the name of it. News article, I apologize. Not National Geographic. It was Smithsonian. Definitely has some good ones. Trying to think. I'll have to get back to you on that one. Send us an email. I don't know if you guys have it. I'll give it to you quickly. All right, so that's our email right there. If you want to copy it and just,
you spelled it wrong.
I spelled it wrong.
Yeah,
right.
O-E-N. Okay, how do you guys get to travel so much, and what school do you guys attend? Well, what helps is my mom. She travels a lot for her work, so we use our miles and stuff like that to get hotels and airplane tickets and things like that. We actually attend Fayette County High School. Public school. It is hard. We've had to cut back on trips, or one of us has had to go, and well, the other one stays and does our homework and tests and stuff like that. But it definitely is kind of difficult, but we love to do what we do, so we try to make it work.
Yeah, we actually got pulled out 30 minutes early to come to this, so
Yes.
Thank you guys for allowing us to do that.
Yeah.
So
that second email is the correct
second email is the
spelling.
correct one.
Yes. Okay. No better education than what you guys are getting, but we would think it was hard.
Yeah, it is sometimes difficult to be doing this. Sometimes, I won't lie, I get behind on homework and I have to stay after school and stuff to catch up on it. And it was hard at first, but I think now I'm starting to get really, adapt to it. I adapted to it. But it is interesting life. And then the next question is, who's the coolest scientist you've met? Oh wait, I apologize. On your travels around the world, are there certain countries or places that you feel most supportive of your initiatives? And there are things that you believe we can learn from other cultures regarding environmental concerns?
I would definitely, if you travel somewhere, learn their culture before going there. Just try to keep up to date with them. But also, your goal is to teach them about animals or whatever you're passionate about. But I feel like most places are accepting. Of course, there are going to be people who aren't accepting of our initiatives and backlash of it. But in the end, if you only get one person to like your initiative, that's a step forward.
So I actually in Vietnam got to spend was it a week and a half? Oh yeah, go down.
Sorry, I'm just making sure.
Yep. we actually got to spend a week and a half in Vietnam, where I spent that amount of time with a host family, and I ate the food. It was honestly, I loved it. And the thing about it, there's no racism in that culture. And I feel like some parts there are always going to be that, but they would have friends over, and they would have people from different cultures over, and no matter what their religion was, they respected it, and they went along. If they couldn't eat meat, they wouldn't cook meat that night. If they had to wear something specific, they would wear it with them. And it was kind of a cool experience.
And when like there are different culture, religions, and we went to one school in Vietnam where you had to every guest had to drink a sip of tea. And personally, I don't like tea, but of course you adapt to it. And I took a sip, but just be nice is the best thing. And who's
Who's
the
the coolest
coolest
scientist?
scientist you've met?
I want to say, okay. Dr. Sylvia Earle would be definitely a huge one on my list.
Jane Goodall.
Jane
is
Goodall is another one.
Yeah, we actually got an award at Captain Planet Gala. We got the Superhero Earth Award for youth, and she actually got an award with us that night as well. So that was really amazing.
I think those are the top two scientists, I guess you could say, we've met. Yeah. Richard Branson. He's another huge one. Okay. Can you help us get Sylvia Earle next year for the teach-in, LOL? Yeah, we could definitely try. We can't guarantee that, of course. She's very busy, but we have been talking to her quite lately. We've met her about how many times? 6 times. We're gonna see her in Mexico. We're gonna be able to spend the day, have dinner with her and stuff. So we'll definitely ask for you guys. I'm willing to bet she'd be very interested. And you guys have been tweeting her for years.
Yeah.
Well, don't worry. We'll try our best for that. Any other questions?
That looks about it. Well, I wanted to thank you guys so much for coming on and listening to us. Oh, we got one more person. But just wanted to say thank you, and remember that anybody can make a difference, and we can, you can too. Olivia and Carter, you're awesome. Thank you for all, and thanks so much for spending time with all of us.
Oh, thank you guys. I mean, it was our pleasure to be able to talk to you guys, and this is what we do, and this is what we love to do. So if you guys have any questions, please email us, and we'll definitely get back to you as soon as possible, usually within the day. But if you have any further questions, please email us, and have a great day, guys. Thank you all for being on this. Thank you, guys. We can figure this out.